first, before we get into anything, how are you doing? How is everything? What's your name? Give me a little bit of a bio before we get into our questions.
Yeah, so I'm doing pretty well. It's week 10, so it's okay. It's not the best part of the season, but it's okay. I am Melissa. I am a third year community regional development major. I come from Southern California, so
Hmm.
that's a lot of fun and going from SoCal to NorCal Central Valley. I don't know what else. I'm a first generation student as well.
Yeah.
I help a lot in the College of Ag, and I'm the oldest one in my family, so that makes me like
Uh-huh.
sometimes overwhelmed by stuff, but it's okay.
Amazing, amazing. Great. So yeah, my name is Mahiri Moore Jr. Um, Folks call me Mo. I am a communications major with a minor in psychology. And yeah, I'm from a small little town called Victorville, California. They refer to it as the high desert up here. Yeah, I'm also a first generation student. I'm really trying to represent, especially for minorities and low income students. Um, so yeah, a lot to talk about. I'm so excited. So I know we got into a little bit on like what we're studying. So could you elaborate a little bit more on that and why you're studying that? And then what's your favorite things about your major in your college?
Yeah, so truth be told, I changed my major 3 times. So I have
Yeah,
a hard time figuring out what I'm studying, why I want to study.
it's okay.
But I think I'm solid on community and regional development. It just does a lot. Like it focuses on communities, but also sees like the problems in them and how to solve them. And um, slowly, like we're trying to apply what we're learning in class to like the real world problems. Like why are people in poverty? Why is there issues with environmental justice? Like what does environmental justice do? Like it's just really awesome to like have all these theories and background information, but also like getting into an application or how to use different like tools and the internet and technology. um so that's basically a little gist of community regional development. I think the big part of me studying it and why I chose it compared to any other major is because it allowed me to get to know like the spaces that I'm
Mhm.
in a smaller scale, because it was between community regional development or sociology. And for me, sociology was very broad and bigger. And I like the smallness of community regional development, where in most of my classes, we've had to write papers about like different areas of like the world or the country or the state.
Mhm.
And like we get to make that decision of like how we want to write those papers. So
Mhm.
in like my environmental justice class, we had to look about an issue in environmental justice and write a 15-page paper on that, which I think that goes in with the least thing I like about my major is the
Mhm.
amount of papers we have to write. In fall quarter, I had to write three classes required 12 plus page papers. So that was not a lot of fun, all due. And the fun part is that back in the day, that's when my birthday was. They were all doing my birthday during finals week. So I was like, this is the greatest birthday I've ever
Oh
had in my life. And
man.
the procrastinator that I am, I did them until the last day. But I still passed those classes, and that's the exciting part is that I get to apply like my best skills because I used to be more of a STEM person, and then
Mhm.
now I'm more of a like writing person. That I've been able to apply my better skills to my major, and
Mhm.
that's what I think I like the most about it as well. Is just like getting to explore, research things, doing what I'm interested in, and then sadly having to write the papers to like demonstrate like what I'm listening and reading and all those things. But that's what I like about my major. What about you? What do you like about your major and minor?
Yeah, so communication. So originally I was a psychology major, and I was double majoring in AAS, African American African Studies. But then I found myself, and the reason why is because I was on the pre-med track, right? And I had aspirations to become a doctor for the sole purpose because I feel as if when I help people, the way I get my dopamine is if I could go to sleep knowing that I made you happy today or I made you day. That makes me feel good, you know. So I felt like being a doctor could put me in that position where I could just constantly get that dopamine every day, right? But then I sat down and I was like, okay, I see my motive. I see what I'm trying to do. How could I touch not just one maybe per day or per hour, but maybe 1,000, in a day, or hundreds of thousands, or maybe 1,000,000 in a day. I could do that. So it kind of transformed my thinking, where I was like, okay, let me change around my academics and let me go with a communications major, and let me really inspire and talk to folks about like public speaking and forcenics and all that, because in that sense, then I could help all these people, and people who may be strangers, but at that point, it's just at that time, that moment, we're connecting. It doesn't matter who you are, where you came from, your background, your personality, your race. But then at that point, I still want to understand the mind, right? So I still want to have that STEM aspect, which is why I'm keeping that psychology minor. So no, it's really great. I have a lot of favorite things about it. I just love speech. I love even my peers will tell you, like, when I was in high school, I had a specific high school teacher for my AP English 4 class. His name was Mr. William Camper. He was from South Africa. I just loved his dialect, his everything about the way he pronounced, and every word was so like, oh my gosh, right? From his accent to this to that to discussing about Beowulf and to this, it was really cool. King Arthur, I like that stuff. So it's really cool to discuss and just go over that stuff in like more of a literature field now. And yeah, kind of I want to relate back to you. At least favorite thing is writing. It is a lot of writing. It is a lot of reading. Yeah, it's a lot of ethos, pathos, logos. It's a lot of argumentative papers. You got to get through. But once I get through it, then that's it. But it was a shock because I'm still a first year, so it was like, oh my god, like, I didn't do this in high school. So most definitely.
Yeah, so you being a first year, and I know right now it's virtual, so it's a different environment that it would be if you were on campus. But what are some tips for your transition from high school to college academics? What has changed for you over the past 2 quarters? I would say, how
Yeah.
was your transition?
So some tips, if I could tell my high school self, right, or if I can tell high school students now or incoming freshmen now, especially at UCD, I would tell you to really reflect and think about what studying means to you. I feel as if when you talk about universities, when you talk about colleges, you always hear that term, studying. What are you studying? Studying, studying. So don't let that fly past your head that it's just like, oh, just studying for assignment for maybe 30 minutes a day and I'm taking the test. It really is transforming the way you study. In high school, the way I studied is insane. If I would have kept studying how I was in high school and transitioned that to college now, I would have been failing all my classes, which is crazy. It's crazy to think about. In high school, we didn't really study like that. Like, yeah, if sometimes it got hard, but we didn't, listen to the Carnegie Rule or anything. Now it's a must, right? And it's crazy. So that's definitely some like a major tip that I would have. That and just get involved, talk to people, and get involved and talk to great people, like you. It's amazing. It just every day it's just you're just forming friendships. So I would say to study, know what studying means to you, and yeah, make friendships and yeah, like you said, I've only been here for 2 quarters. So what's changed for me over the years is just probably just that transition of the rigor of a university, and knowing where you're at. In high school, it's kind of like you're a high school among millions, right? But then now it's like you're at UC Davis, the eyes are on you, the spotlight is on, time to shine, young man. So it's like that's just kind of that's what kind of changed like from my perspective over the last 2 quarters. So what about you?
I definitely think I agree with your transition. So I'm a third year, like I said. So I've been in Davis for a while, got experience in person, online, and continue to do online. So I think the biggest tip is knowing that, as harsh as it sounds, is that you're going to fail something. And I think the way that you have that support network is what helps you up. Like, no, not everyone's going to fail as bad as like some people do. Like for myself, I failed like my first class ever, like ever, and that was so devastating. I was like, I'm not good enough, like what is this, like I've never felt in my life, like. And I think that goes a lot with what you're saying, is like what are you studying and why you're studying it really does make an impact. Because like I said, I used to be philosophy, but then I went to like a STEMmer major,
Mm,
and I thought that's what it was meant for me, is that was a way for me to help people, but that really wasn't my style of
yeah.
learning or studying. Like it really wasn't. Like I was only doing it because that's what I thought the only way to do it was. And I think recognizing that you have different options is also a good tip. Is that just because you declared a major when you're 17, 16 sometimes doesn't mean that that's your life track
Mhm.
forever. Like
Yeah.
I think that's the hardest part for like a lot of people, even for
Like,
myself. I was like, yeah, like having to change and like telling people, oh, I changed, is a hard part. And that's why I think it's important to have that acknowledgement that you might have a little failure here and there. You might not get the best grade. You might get a B instead of an A in a paper. That's fine, like moving forward. But with that, it's knowing that you have support and making those support networks, but also being able to balance it on your own. I think that's what was my challenge. That in high school, like my counselors were keeping tracks on me. My teachers were keeping track on me. I was in this program called Upward Bound, and they were also keeping track on me. And then in college, like I was just thrown into like a void of university status, and I was
yeah.
like, I have
Yep.
no idea what I'm
I don't know
doing.
where I'm
Like
at. I don't know what to say. Yeah.
I'm gonna act like I know what I'm doing, but honestly, it's good to acknowledge that yes, it's a new challenge, but you're not by yourself. Everyone as a first year does deal with that, like being like, do I belong here? Like, how do I make friends? Like all that good stuff. And for me, that's what's changed over the year the most is being able to accept like the failures, but also being able to use them as I'm
Yes.
sorry, as growing points. Like I said, I failed a couple of classes, but I've grown from them. Like, so why did I fail? Like, it's because I didn't study. And I think that goes with the way that you're talking about. Like, in high school, you study a certain way, which isn't really studying, I guess, per se. Like, I used to like study and like just it was like more like hanging out with my friends and like doing math homework together rather than like actually like trying to get to know the material and like
Yes.
knowing what the
Yes.
material is.
Sense
And
of
then
mastery. Yeah.
yeah, there you go. Like being able to master the material. And I think that changes in college because in high school you may have just been able to do the homework problems and that would have been it. That's your studying. But in college you might need to look up YouTube videos, you might need to go to
Yeah.
office hours, you might need to have study buddies. Like it's so different. And I think that's really cool about it all is that it's a time for you to get to know how to transition. And I think each year it's a different transition. Like first year to second year, most of the time you're in the apartment or you're in the dorms or it's a different space. And then your third year, you're like, it's all a new transition every year. And I think just looking back and having support and remember how far you've gone
Yeah.
definitely is a big one because from high school to college, you really don't remember how far you've gone. Like in high school, it's one thing, and then I think public education from K to 12 being like, you're going to take this class and then next you're going to take these classes. And like it really highlighted for you. But in
Yeah.
college, it's like, here are the classes you can take. You just need to meet these requirements, have fun with it. And it's just, that's also fun, but it's a good
You're
time.
free. It's a sense of being free, but then also being disciplined, which is
Mm-hmm.
really fun. Cool. That's really great. So, kind of highlighting on everything we priorly talked to, I kind of want to just move on to what was your first year like at UC Davis? I know you said that you were a third year. So like, where did you live? How'd you make friends? Favorite memory? Give me everything.
Yeah, so I think my first year at UC Davis was a lot of fun. Just because was happy to finally be away from my parents. Like that was the first time in my life that like my parents, I had to call them or like I can choose to not call them and like check
Yeah,
in on me. Like it was just awesome because like I got to hang out with my friends or my roommate whenever I wanted, and like I didn't have to ask anyone for permission. So I think that was my favorite part is just being able to explore the world a little bit. And I think the way that Davis is like kind of constructed, it gives you a little bit of everything in the
Mhm.
way that like it isn't too far. Like to go outside to see nature, like the Arboretum was like a 5 minute, 10 minute bike ride. To
All
go
right.
downtown, it's like a 5 to 10 minute bike ride. Like, yeah. So on that note, how do you show your school spirit? What does it mean to you to be an Aggie? I think you kind of touched on that, on like the friendliness. And I have to agree, like a lot of people at Davis are friendly. Like the
Yeah.
amount of times I've like fallen off my bike or like some sort of accident, there's always people there like, are you okay? Like, do you need anything? And it's just like, it's awesome. But how
Yeah.
do you show your Aggie pride and school spirit?
Yeah. So what I like to do is, it's always a sense of representation, right? And I'm gonna get to what I mean by this. So granted that I'm from SoCal, right? My father's side is from LA, Creole bound, and my mother's side is from Pomona, and they mostly came from Chicago. But that being stated, given my SoCal roots, it was always a sense of representation, right? Especially in LA, right? And I'm gonna mean this to say like straight out of Compton, right? That when they came out, NWA, it was kind of really like a sense of putting Compton on the map, representation, right? And this happens everywhere. I mean,
Yeah.
especially folks up north. We got people like E40. That's amazing. A sense of representation. Hey, I'm from the Bay, right? Putting it on the map. So me, how I show my school spirit is whenever I do something that is, considered successful, I want to make it known I'm putting UC Davis on the map. This is my representation. I'm an Aggie because I didn't personally know much about UC Davis when I was applying to high school. The talks with UCLA, Berkeley, which are great institutions, but UC Davis deserves a lot of representation and recognition. So yeah, what it means to be an Aggie is just to represent well, and pave the way. To have people be like, oh my gosh, UC Davis is like amazing, right? So that's definitely just my motive and how I show my school spirit. Whatever I do, I'm just like, I'm from UC Davis, so let's do it. Get to know the name because we're gonna be around. So yeah, I want to shoot it back. Reverse Uno card. How about you?
Yeah, definitely. I have to agree with that. Representation is a big part. And I think the way that I've shown my school spirit is that through the College of Ag, we get to like outreach and talk to like different high schoolers or different people in the agriculture industry and things like that. So a lot of the times it is basically representing UC Davis, and that's what they tell us. Like, you're basically representing the whole university. So
Exactly.
whatever the way that you present yourself, like friendly or anything like
Everything.
that, yeah. And that's kind of one of the main reasons that I did choose UC Davis is that when they did come out, and I was involved in this program called FFA, so it's agriculture for high school and middle school students now throughout the nation. So because of that program, they offer like different conferences and different leadership workshops and all these spaces. So the universities had an opportunity to outreach to us as FFA students in high school.
Yeah.
So I would like go to all the other colleges and things like that. But in the UC Davis booth, that kind of made me decide like why I wanted to come here was because they're so friendly and so nice, and like they wanted to genuinely get to know me as a person, and the way that UC Davis like was a fit for me. If not UC Davis, then they were able to like answer questions of what my own passions or interests or how to find them. And I think that's the good part about our school is that the way that people show school spirit is a lot through representation, and the way that somehow we all just show that like kindness and friendliness and caringness. Yeah, like it's just a universal thing I think on campus. And I think to me, being an Aggie is just being able to, like you said, represent that in the way that I represent it. And I think at the same time we also have pride in what we do. I think now, even with COVID, like our UC Davis has been mentioned a lot, especially like for the plans of how it's handling the COVID situation. Like that makes me so proud. I'm like, wow, like this my university, like this is my school, like they're doing the like one of the right thing, like they're doing the right things, like they want to keep us safe, like they genuinely care about the community that we're in, and as students, they want to take care of us, like really, like I think that's the awesome part is that we try to show that caring nature throughout like whoever we talk to. And I think the biggest part is that since it's like so like normal on campus, that people do tend to like show that off in like outside spaces like downtown Davis, outside of the Davis area. It's really awesome. Every time I meet like an alumni, they're like, yeah, like you must be a Davis student or something like that. I'm like, yeah, how'd you know? Like that's really awesome that you noticed that.
Yeah. That's so funny because talking about culture kind of moves on to our next question, right? So we kind of have like, that culture, that universal, that what you were saying, right? Everybody's just kind of relaxed here and it's for the benefit. So I kind of wanted to ask you, as far as UC Davis, right? What's your favorite UC Davis tradition or event? What's our cultural, thing that you like? What's your favorite?
I think my favorite is the Biodiversity Day. Not a lot of people know about this, so it's
Mhm.
really awesome. Like Biodiversity Day, um, kind of opens up all the museums we have on campus. So we
Uh-huh.
have like anthropology, we have like the lab spaces, we have like the botanical conservatory, we have like where the birds are. I forgot what it was called, but every year typically they like open these spaces up to the public, and UC Davis students get to like present like these insects or like these birds or like these plants and give those tours and show like this is what we do at UC Davis. This is like the spaces students use to like study, and like it's just cool. Like I think that's my favorite event is the Biodiversity Day, just because it's usually winter quarter, so it's towards the end of winter quarter, so it's not that cold and it's sunny and it's still kind of rainy, but like it's still like a nice day. And they have like people outside of campus coming out and like checking out the cool places, and like just as a student, it's cool to see that other students are getting things out of these, because sometimes we see like the labs and like I don't want to go to like this lab is just a lab space, but people are using it to do research or like show it off, I guess, in a way to the community. Like this is where I do my research. This is the research that I'm doing. Like these are the things that I'm using. Like it's just cool to see that and to see how like it offers spaces, different spaces for people to learn. Like in the botanical conservatory, I've gone there for a couple of my plant science classes, so that was really cool to see. Like it's open to the public, and like I was able to like kind of show off to my roommates, like, oh, this plant is this, it does this. Like it was just cool
Having
to
that just
be
not
able to, yeah, like
what? Yeah,
yeah, I was like, I know what this is. Like I'm smart.
most definitely. So now this is me speaking on I haven't had like an event right in person. So I've only heard tales. But the most famous tale I've heard that I think will be really fun is picnic day. I've heard that that's really fun. Um, I don't know. I've seen a lot of parades. I've seen a lot of that goes down, and I kind of just really want to have that day where we just like have fun. And I feel like that's cool because Davis has some really pretty weather. So
Mhm.
I know my extrovertness. I know I'd be out there like just having fun. Like, hey, what are we doing? Like, let's I don't know. Like, let's throw horseshoes or something. Like, let's I don't know. What do you guys want to do? Let's play soccer. So it's like that would be so much fun. Just having all the people that's in the same boat as you, just wanting to,
Mhm.
just make new friends. And just
Mhm.
yeah. So most definitely that for sure. Okay, so to conclude, wanted to ask you. So we talked a lot about Davis, our experiences, and everything. So to conclude, I wanted to ask you. So when did you know you were meant to be here at UC Davis? And is there a specific memory or a moment like where you knew you made the right choice, like battling these different schools, and you were just like, oh wait, I made the perfect decision.
Yeah, so to be honest, I didn't know what university I wanted to go to. I just knew at that point that I wanted to go to an ag school. So there's a couple of ag schools like Chico, Fresno, Cal Poly SLO, Cal Pomona, and then Davis. And I really didn't know which ag school I wanted to go to. I just knew an ag school, I don't care. But I think what really sold me to Davis is the moment that I stepped on campus. I literally stepped on campus 2 days before the statement to attend to register was due. So I had to make a decision. Like if I didn't feel that in that moment, then I don't know what I would have done. But
Yeah,
the moment that like I stepped on campus and that I like we got off the freeway exit, like this is UC Davis, like it just felt like a breath of fresh air. Like it really felt like a breath of fresh air. Like the environment was so different, and I think it just I was like, wow, like I felt like in the movies where you like flash forward to your life and then you go back, like you like flash
yeah,
forward in life and then go back to the moment you are. It felt like that. Like it, as cheesy as it sounds, like it really did. Like I think the biggest part was like it was part of nature. It offered like a small space for me to. It was a big university, but it was also small in the way that like everything was really close. Like the dorms are really close to each other, the classes are really close to each other. Like going to downtown, it's really close to like off. It's literally right off campus. So I
Yeah.
think that was really like it helped settle some nerves for me. Was like, how am I gonna move around? How am I gonna make friends? How do I know that like I belong here? And it was literally just that fresh breath air. I remember we took a picture like at the UC Davis sign by the Mondavi Center, like right into there. And we took a picture there when we were leaving. And I was really sad to leave. Like I've never been to that school, and I was there for like 30 minutes, and I was sad already to leave.
Yeah.
So that's when I knew. I was like, wow, if I'm already sad that I'm leaving and I've only been here for like an hour, 30 minutes, like that spoke volumes to me. And I think the way that the school was able to like support, like even that first thing, like the first tour guide, like they were just so nice, and like they really enjoyed the campus and their experiences. Someone that I met later, what like they said that they chose UC Davis, and I really agreed to that. Is like a lot of schools that like I went to didn't really emphasize how much they loved and the passion they had for the school. That's kind of what I was looking for. Like I
Exactly.
needed someone to be like, this is my home and I love my home. Like
Yeah.
expressing the school as a home really called me into it, and I was like, this is my home too. Like I'm glad I'm not the only one that thinks this is
Yeah.
a second home. What
Yes.
about you? I know you recently had this journey yourself, but
Yeah.
how did you make that decision?
Definitely when I think back, right? When I reflect on it, it leads me all the way back to the American dream, right? What was the American dream for? Just knowing that there is this land of opportunity, um, a land to potentially make a name for yourself, amongst many. When I first came to UC Davis, that first day I knew that was where I was supposed to be. That's at that certain time. I knew it wasn't a different UC school or maybe a private school. I knew it was UC Davis for my opportunities that I could have here. The doors I could just continuously knock down like it's nothing and keep going,
Mm-hmm.
persevering. Um, I knew I made the right choice when I was talking to my peers, all my individuals, and just like yourself, they were talking to it as a sense of home. It wasn't like a sense of a job or a sense of, an institution or, even in
Mm-hmm.
high school, I felt constrained. Like it felt like prison.
Yeah.
Like it felt it, it was just so structured. So, and I know
Mm-hmm.
that some universities can be the same and then some universities are loose, but I wanted that sense of home, a sense
Mm-hmm.
of home and a sense of opportunity where I'm not just a fish in a big pond. I'm more than just a
Mm-hmm.
number.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew I made the right choice when I instinctively felt that. I instinctively
Yeah.
felt that folks were actually caring about me. They cared about me, and I was more than just a
Mm-hmm.
number. And I kept getting
Mm-hmm.
opportunities to make a
Mm-hmm.
name for myself. And I was here at UC Davis, right? So it was just all these
Yeah.
attributes continuously told me this is where I need to be and this is where I need to stay, so I can get my education. So most definitely, all that conjoining into one point, definitely the American dream for sure. So thank you so much, Melissa. You're amazing. Asking Aggie is gonna be great. I can't wait for this to come out and for our stories to be heard to younger individuals or even transfer students looking to come to UC Davis. How about you?
Yeah, I'm really excited that they're doing this for them all. Like, it's just exciting to see like these opportunities and these spoken words. I think it helps a lot. I think even in a virtual environment,
Oh yes.
a lot of students are like, people are just saying this to say this, but I don't. I
Mhm.
find it very true to my heart
Very deep.
that
Yeah.
this is just the place to be at, and it doesn't have to be UC Davis. I think it could be any other place, but I feel like the same feelings that we're feeling should you should feel that
Resonate.
wherever you decide to go, I
Yeah,
think.
for sure. Well, thank you so much. I hope you have a great day, and I can't wait till this word gets out.
Thank you. Bye, Mahari.
Okay. All right. Bye bye.